What's going on, leaders? Good morning, and welcome to Monday Morning Leadership Huddle. I'm your favorite neighbor, Jay Murray, and this is where I provide you with tips and tools to drive, to ignite, to motivate, to inspire your leadership purpose. So, if you're ready for another week to lead with authenticity, to drive change, to develop a growth mindset, then do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button so you can be at the right place, at the right time, doing the right thing with the right people. What's going on, family? Hope that you are well. Hope you are happy. Hope that you are being your best, whatever that means for you, right? Showing up, right? That can be your best. That's my best today. I'm showing up. I want to bring us back and continue a conversation, discussion from last week about this practice, this practice, this attitude, this posture around pursuing or driving a purpose-driven lifestyle and developing these underlining attributes that helps us to do exactly that, that helps us to drive our leadership purpose. And as we said last week, when we was just kind of gleaning from the Bible story around the man that went to his friend's house at midnight to ask for bread because he had another friend that was coming over, and he wanted to make sure that, hey, he can show his friend hospitality. So he went to his friend's house at midnight. And after the story, the parable, Jesus tells disciples, hey, whoever seek will find, whoever asks will receive, whoever knock, the door shall be open, right? So when I thought about that, and as we was kind of meditating on that, and when I looked at it from the lens of leadership, as a lens of how we mature in our leadership purpose, how do we develop, how do we continue to practice a purpose-driven life, right? And when we reflect over our own accomplishments and maybe reflect on others' accomplishments, I believe, I believe that there is some type of component that we can pinpoint, that we can point to, that required us to seek, that required us to knock, that required us to ask, right? And we may be in a season right now that we are seeking, right? That we're challenging our assumptions. We may be in a season now where we having to knock, overcome oppositions, and really put this plan, the strategy into practice, and really take actions on the things in our life. Or maybe, just maybe, we are in an asking season where we're having to practice some humility, really ask for support, really be just truthful with ourselves and others that, hey, I need help. Or let me just ask this person. Let me just muster up the courage to just ask and get over my pride. So, as I said, when you think about your own accomplishments, or maybe what you're currently going through now, I believe it's the underlying theme, or what we can practice and how we can take what we're doing right now and really think about the practice that we're doing it and the mindset and what are we having to muster up, what we're having to develop. I believe, again, in some type of capacity, we are either seeking answers or seeking, challenging our assumptions. We're knocking, overcome oppositions. We're asking. So, from last week, we talked about those three things and just again, some food for thought as we were gleaning from the chapter, Luke 11. And don't quote me on that. I didn't write it down on my notes, but I could be wrong. But it's in Luke. Okay, you can go back and see. Yeah, I believe it is Luke 11, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's Luke 11. But nevertheless, we're going to take a step further, as I said, and look at just one of these areas. One of these areas of I don't know what you call them, like a purpose driven, to practice purpose driven mindset. I don't know what I'm calling it right now. It's early, but hey, that's what seeking is all about. That's what knocking is all about. That's what asking is all about, right? It's starting, right? So we're gonna start with it, and maybe I'll get the full concept of it later on. But for now, I think of these three things as the gift of seeking, the power of knocking, and the significance of asking. So today we're going to look at seeking, the gift of seeking. You know, if we take a moment and reflect again on accomplishments, on just not even necessarily accomplishments, on something that we went through, right? Maybe it was a breakup. Maybe it was a job loss. Maybe it was a bad business deal. Maybe it was something that, hey, it was, when you look back on it, it was the worst of the worst. But there was always, when I think about what I learned from it, it was so great, right? The wisdom that I was able to learn from that mistake or learn from that circumstance. I mean, it really helped me. It really developed this grit within me. And that's why I think about the gift of seeking. It's like these hidden gems that we're developing, our mindsets that we're developing when we are in a posture of seeking, when we are practicing seeking to drive our purpose, to live a purpose-driven life. I believe there's gifts, and just like, again, I remember jobs that I had that I hated. Oh, I hated. It was one job, like my third or fourth leadership role, and I hated this. Like, it was times where I hated it. But if it wasn't for that role, I wouldn't have been able to develop managerial skills. And again, I know we can talk more about that, but there's a difference between leadership skills and managerial skills. Some of us are in positions now that are requiring us to be a manager, but yet we're our leader. Then there's other roles that are requiring us to be a leader, but we still got this managerial hat on. And some of us can balance those two. Others, like myself, I lean more in the leadership role, visionary, motivator, inspire others. Managerial role, managing risk, holding people accountable, um, setting expectations. Those were all the things that I didn't like doing. But I'm so glad I did that job because it stretched me, it challenged me. I was very uncomfortable, and it provided this gift that I didn't know that I was getting. And that was managerial 101. So that's what I'm talking about when you think about like seeking, the gift of seeking. It is like these hidden gifts that we get or we receive when we're seeking. We think about and reflect base how through our seeking we're able to receive these gifts. So I want to talk about 3 mindsets that I believe we develop when we are in a seeking posture, right? When we're seeking these hidden gifts, right? That we're able to develop and strengthen and really receive when we're seeking, the gift of seeking. The gift of seeking. I think when I think about it, just as this thought just came to me, like I'm thankful for God giving us the ability to seek, to be curious, to be curious. And that's the first gift that I believe we receive when we're seeking is the gift of curiosity. This curiosity mindset, or if you want to call it growth mindset. I'm gonna lean more around the curious mindset. We develop a curious mindset. What does that mean? Well, we're able to challenge our assumptions. Like when you're seeking, when you're really seeking, it is okay to be curious. Like I'm really curious. I remember when I did my first half marathon, and I did this half marathon based off just an assumption that, can I do it? I wonder. I wonder if I can do a half marathon. I did a 5K before. I just wonder, man, can I push my body to do a half marathon? I was curious. I was curious on if I can do that. And that's what is the gift. That's part of the gift of seeking, of developing that curious mindset, that we're challenging our assumptions. You know, I remember, I won't say the name, but a good friend, like I told him, hey, I'm doing a half marathon. He was like, man, I hope you don't pass out, man. That's tough, man. I don't know if you, man, I know people pass out. And when he told me that, and this early on, I was like, man, maybe I might not be ready. But I was curious enough to find out. Those that seek will find. So I seeked. When we develop a curious mindset, as I said, we are able to challenge our assumptions. We're able to broaden our perspective. And the thing about where even this part of seeking can be uncomfortable, because especially when you have to deal with beliefs and traditions that you have been cultivated in. And it is challenging to accept or embrace a curious mindset, because you may have to go against or challenge the assumptions of your beliefs, of your tradition. And you may have to start asking questions. And I think that's the beauty of the seeking of, you get to ask questions. You seeking. You seeking. So in this phase or in this practice, what we have to be comfortable with is, as we mature in this seeking and mature in this curious mindset, we have to be comfortable of challenging our assumptions, overcoming our traditions and beliefs, and asking questions. So the first gift that I believe we receive when we're seeking is a curious mindset. The second gift I believe we receive, or a gift of seeking, is we develop a forensic mindset. Say that again. A forensic mindset. What do you mean? Well, as we develop and mature, right? This is when, think about it. This is the as you mature, as you progress in your seeking, you're starting to get better at what? Seeking. You starting to get better at seeking. You starting to now become better at investigating and assessing, and not just settling for the first answer that you get, because you already developed that curious mindset. And now you've developed that forensic mindset to where you know where to look. You know where to search. What do you mean? Well, think about it in this way. I remember during the pandemic, and even now, like my kids would play hide and seek, right? And we all know the person that is hiding, or the person that is seeking, one thing you don't want to be is, or one thing you don't want to experience is not finding anybody. Is not finding anybody. And I remember, during the pandemic, and even now, every now and then, my kids would play hide and seek. And my son, early on, until he caught on, until he started to remember and assess, right? And become a little bit better at searching. I mean, he's just searched like, Lathan, she's not right there. Lathan, he'll get frustrated and everything. I said, Lathan, like, okay, like, search, don't give up. Keep looking, right? And that's the part. And when you think about it from the mindset of a forensic mindset, and as you the gift of seeking, what you're developing is a forensic mindset to be able, or become a better searcher, to become better at finding, right? That's the part where it is so beautiful when you think about it, right? That if it wasn't for me seeking this thing out and learning and not accepting, I wouldn't be able to really assess the situation at such a more efficient pace now than I was before. I wouldn't be able to, go, and now I can go to this place and search here, knowing what books I need to now read to continue my progress, to continue me seeking knowledge, or knowing what questions to ask, what better questions to ask. That comes from developing that forensic mindset, that you become better at searching. You becoming better at assessing and investigating when you seek. When you practice seek, the gift of seeking, you develop that curious mindset, develop that forensic mindset. The last thing we develop, number 3, I think is really big, we can't overlook, is that we develop, or we receive from the gift of seeking, is the gift of a continuous improvement mindset. A continuous improvement mindset. I believe one of the biggest things when we really mature in seeking, it's like practice, right? It's like, I want to get better, right? When you develop and come really mature in seeking, you take on this continuous improvement mindset to where you know how to practice. You develop this discipline around being persistent. There's this persistent uh, uh, um, mindset or muscle that you develop as you develop a continuous improvement mindset to where you look forward to practice. This practice, I'm just practice because I'm getting ready for the real thing. This is why we practice, right? I was helping my son. My son now he's in second grade, and we're now getting homework. We're not getting much, but you got the reading log, and was doing that last year. But you got the reading log, and now you got weekly spelling tests, right? Spelling tests and sentence writing. And I was telling my son, you know, the the reason why we practice, and I was trying to correlate it into like football, because he's really into football, basketball, and I was trying to connect it to, well, this is why you practice, right? You practice in football, right? Yeah. And you see other teams practicing, yeah. So when it comes to your learning, you take that same mentality to practice. This is why we do pre-tests at home to get you ready for the spelling test. You know, this is why I'm asking you these questions. This is why we're doing this, because we're practicing. Because when you're seeking to get better. When you're seeking to really go above and beyond, because you know that you're not satisfied to where you're currently at. So I'm seeking to get better. You're developing a continuous improvement mindset. You knowing how to practice. So many of us don't take practice. Like, take practice. I was Shout out to Andre Notice. You can go check out the latest episode on Happy Hood the podcast. Let's talk about your purpose. One thing he said that, hey, speakers speak, shooters shoot, right? And speakers speak, leaders lead. Practice. Leaders lead. This is practice, right? Because we always seeking to get better. So we always see these opportunities, right, as a way, let me get better. That's a continuous improvement mindset. That is a continuous improvement mindset. Let me get better at this. I believe I can get better at this. Let me keep practicing. Let me keep improving. Let me keep seeking to get better. The gift of seeking. Continuous improvement mindset. You develop that discipline, right? It's that discipline that you develop to be persistent. And family, if I can be honest, right, many of us, the reason why we have not reached the level that we know, right, that we're capable of reaching, that God has called us to reach, because we won't take the time to practice. We won't take the time to continue to seek to get better, because we too content, we too complacent to where we at now. We too complacent. And it's like, I'm good, I'm satisfied, I'm cool. Yeah, I ain't, nah, that's gonna be too much challenge right there. So we take it easy. We take the easy road. We don't practice as hard we used to. We don't practice as hard we used to, because we good. But this is like, when we seek, and we talked about this last time, there's a sense of urgency that we always have. There's a sense of hunger that we always have to continue to be curious, to have a investigator mindset, a forensic mindset, to investigate things, to develop a continuous improvement mindset. That I want to see. I'm seeking to get better. This is why I practice. So the gift of seeking, 3 mindsets that we're able to develop, 3 mindsets that we're able to receive from the gift of seeking. A curious mindset, we challenge our assumptions. A forensic mindset, we're learning how to seek. We become better seekers, we become better at searching, become better at assessing and investigating. And then lastly, we develop a continuous improvement mindset. We're seeking to get better. I'm not satisfied at this level. I want to be at the top. That's why I practice, right? Leaders lead, homie. Leaders lead. Leaders lead. So with that being said, family, leadership is not a title, but a choice. And today I choose, you choose, we choose. We choose to receive the gift of seeking. We choose a curious mindset. We choose a forensic mindset. And we choose a continuous improvement mindset. Till next time, family, be blessed.